Hi friends, welcome to day 3 of discussion. Question for today is discuss genomic sequencing in Indian perspective. In context of the launch of Genome India project, throw a light on its future potential. So this is the question friends. So first, what should we do? How many parts are there in the question? Two parts again. So this is the first part and this is the second part. Then identify the question tag. Here question tag is discuss. So what does discuss mean? So it is generally, let's say I have met you and uh, you want me to discuss about civil services preparation. So I will be discussing what should you prepare, how you should prepare, what are the challenges you might face, what kind of things or suggestions I can give or measures you can take to overcome these challenges. So discussion, it can be anything. It is open-ended. So it is a kind of general kind of discussion. So discussion is happening. So that's what the discussion means. So when they ask you discuss, you will bring its significance and challenges. When you bring the challenges, always make your suggestions a kind of conclusive, a kind of futuristic, use some kind of suggestions in the conclusion. That should happen. Okay. And I wanted to add one more point. Since I'm giving all the content, whoever people are writing the answers, they are also writing so many pages, 5 pages, 6 pages, 4 pages. It's not possible to write or reproduce this much in the exam. In the exam, you will be able to write properly in 2 to 3 pages. So restrict your content to the 2 to 3 pages. It's not necessary to write 5, 6 or pages. Only write what is asked. Directly come to the question. And the second mistake what people are doing is they are just searching the internet and what is there, whatever there it is in the book, everything they are writing. No, that should not be the way. You should write only what it is asked. In this way, you will have space to write more points and your time will be saved and you will be in a position to attempt all the questions at least decently. And examiner will also not overburden and he will be happy because he need not go through many things. Okay, now let's start our discussion. First, to answer this question, we need to know what is this genome sequencing is. We have already discussed, friends. We have cell, again, same thing. Within the cell, you have the nucleus. Within the nucleus, you have the chromosomes. On the chromosomes, you have the DNA. On the DNA, you have the genetic structure. So genetic material will be converted from DNA to RNA, and then finally protein expression will happen. We have already seen this thing, the role of RNA and protein. Now, this entire part is the DNA. Like I said, this can be one code. This can be one code, X, Y, Z, or A, B, C. Now, in the genome sequencing, you are trying to read which gene is coding for what. Okay, this gene is coding for your hair. This gene is responsible for your color. This gene is responsible for your body structure. This gene is responsible for your eyes. Like this, you are trying to decode these things. So this is called genome sequencing. Now, what is the use of this thing? Yesterday, we have also seen because of this genes only, every functioning, everything is happening. We are like this because of our genetic structure. When we know significance and function of every gene, we will be in a better position to understand the human system better. First, understanding is better. Now, if I know the ideal scenario, which gene, the gene's ideal function, so if there are any genetic problems, I will be able to know which gene is responsible. So in the healthcare, if there are any faulty genes, like yesterday we have discussed sickle cell anemia, and we have also discussed hemophilia. So these faulty genes can be replaced, can be edited with the healthy gene. So in the healthcare, it is can be. And then during treatment, different people will respond to different medicines in a different manner. And again, genes will play the role here. So if I know which person's genes is responsible for such kind of differential response, I can accordingly design, be it a vaccine or medicine, to suit that particular person's, right? And by studies of the gene, I will also be able to identify how the species are evolving. We say we have come from the monkeys, right? So if we know what was the gene that was responsible, our gene has so many similarities with the chimpanzee. So what was the gene that was responsible for the species evolution? That can be understood. And it's not just about the human. You can also study the genome of the plant. You can also study the genome of the organism. Let's say you have a water body in India. Assume that it is in the Andhra Pradesh. Now you have studied the genome sequences of these organisms. Then there is a DNA barcoding. This is a UPSC prelims question. Now this way I'll integrate group 2 or UPSC or anything. DNA barcoding means you will have this kind of structure, right? Barcoding for your biscuit packets, chocolates. In the same way, we also want to develop by just scanning this barcode, you will understand which species it belongs to. And this can happen only when we know the genome sequence of every organism. So now by studying the water body, we will be able to know whether this organism is from the Andhra Pradesh or Telangana or North India or from Pakistan or from Australia. So invasive species, alien species can be found, right? So these are the certain things. And at the same time, even in the agriculture, some plants can be modified. Once we study the gene, same thing can be applied over the plants also. So these are the certain benefits. In order to do this thing, globally, Human Genome Project is there. Human Genome Project. In India, we have Indigen as well as the Genome India project. Now the question is asking not Human Genome Project, it is asking discuss genome sequencing in Indian perspective. We have to discuss this concept of genome sequencing in the Indian perspective. So first we will discuss what is this genome sequencing is. Introduction should always set context, friends. Please know, do not just by heart introductions and pour it over there. It should suit the body. When I flow from introduction to the body, it should look like a natural transition. So genome sequencing is to decipher the genetic material. That's what I have discussed. What is the sequence? Like ATCG, these are the nucleotide base pairs, right? Because of this thing only, various codes are written. So you are actually deciphering this thing and you are trying to understand the genetic structure. Example, the Human Genome Project. Now, what are the applications? The same thing like I have discussed. Inherited disorders can be resolved like thalassemia and all. We are talking this thing in the Indian context only. Cancer, these things can be resolved. Personalized medicine, like I so told you, how the evolution of the species organisms has happened. Even in the forensic, once I know this, your genetic structure, my genetic structure, let's say you and me, you and me have appeared at crime place. One among us has committed the crime. Now let's assume that government is making DNA profile of Indians, though it is not allowed. Still, the bill is hanging because of the privacy concerns and all. We both were there. Some of both in one of us has committed the crime. Now government has got some hair samples or blood samples from the crime location. Now they will check those samples and identify whether it is this or this person. So in this way, it will help in the forensic science. It will also helpful in finding the relationships. Let's say paternal disputes, maternal disputes. These things happen. She's not my baby. He's not my baby. He's not my mother. These kind of things. You have mini satellites. I told you in the DNA there are genes, which is the coding structure. regarding your functionality, but there are certain non-coding areas. These are called as mini satellites. And these mini satellites differ human to human. By studying these mini satellites, we can understand sequence of unique human being, and we will be able to identify person. So in this way, forensic science also it is helpful. In the same way, like I said in the metagenomics, studying the microbes also, not just human being, microbes, various plants, species, ecosystems can also be studied. And then it can be also used in the agriculture. And then in order to understand which gene has which kind of functionality, what happens if any modifications happen in that particular gene, all these things can also be done. These are the applications. So what are challenges? We have to discuss these things. Okay, these are the general things, whether it is India or anywhere, you can bring these things. In order to make it things more lively, like the example which I've said, okay, invasive alien species can be found out. India is finding so much of alien species. Okay, here there can be applied. India is also facing various problems of agriculture distress. Okay, this can be applied. Like Ashok Dalwai committee said, for doubling of the farmer's income, this biotechnology plays a key role. These things can be utilized. But what are the challenges? I told you here, uh, it is able to identify the person. What if I made a crime and I deliberately drop your hair here and I just spoke to the police? Just take this guy. Okay. So in this way, things can be manipulated. And our still understanding is limited. Even if you know which gene has which role, still our understanding about that functionality is not clear. So there is no 100% accuracy and reliability. And we do not have such a kind of skilled resource in India to do such a kind of genome sequencing. And let's assume that you have a particular genes in your body, and and by studying this genome projects, it's get to know that you may die after 50 years, or you may develop some kind of genetic diseases which is not treatable. So now, just like a racial discrimination, genetic discrimination can also be created. People might not be in a position to accept these things. So there is a problem of privacy also. It should not be misused. So there is lack of skill. There can be a stigma, huge volume of data. How will you save that data? How do you store the data and also ensure that there is a proper security in that data? Again, a problem. Ethical implications. Now, if I know one person has good genes, okay, let's say Hrithik Roshan is looking good, or Katrina Kaif, Brunal Thakur, she's looking good. I want, okay, my son to get the genes of Hrithik or Katrina if she's a daughter. So in this way, the designer babies can also happen, and there can be ethical implications. So this is also again problem in a countries like India and also everywhere. No, especially in India, we are also doing this human genome project. Now here, I'm talking more about the potential of the India. Here in general, I have spoken about the applications. Now, what is its potential? The second part of the question. In context of the launch of Genome India project, throw a light on its future potential. Please see, guys, I'm using the same things as a heading. Potential. So what is the potential? Like I said, now we will be able to find out genes of different races, Northeast, South Indian people, okay, all these things, and we will be able to preserve them, and we can also find out which gene is good, which gene has a problem. Currently, all the studies are westernized. They are targeting their countries. No studies are happening with the South Asian people. There are so many rare genetic disorders, especially there are also so many diseases that are endemic to the South Asian countries. Those things can be resolved. So these are the crucial points. Most of the studies, understanding of disease can increase, and most of the studies are Western context. Those things can be resolved. We can study the genetic diversity, and we can also understand the migration that has happened. So we'll say currently Aryans are not native to Indians, or Indus Valley civilization, they are not native people. So like this, there are various things that keep on happening. Okay, they are They are the people who have come from different sorry, Vedic people. They are the Aryan group of people who have come to the migrated from the India. So there are various theories. Now you will be able to find out at what way migration has happened, and even in the present generation, how the migrations are changing the genome sequencing, what is happening when the people marry between two diversified races, how much good it is. So all these things you will be able to understand. A huge database can be developed, and we can also develop India specific medicines, vaccines, drugs that are suitable to our Indian population. New things can be opened up, personalized medicines, whole catalog of the genetic variations in the Indian population. And medicines can be developed in a cost-effective manner, migration. And like I said, that environment aspect also can be done. So as genome sequencing technology advances, so does our understanding of the health, disease, and human diversity. So it should be promoted, but at the same time, checks and balances has to be maintained. Now, see here, I have not written the challenges because it is not feasible for me. It is simply asking through the potential. Why should I go for the challenges and all? Simply write the potential and applications and challenges, and then I will move to the next question. I'll give the conclusion here. Simple, guys. And I have given some value-added material, the Indigen initiative. This is done on the 1,000 people by the CSAR. That is a bigger one. Here it is just 1,000 people. So almost the goals are similar. So this thing you have to know. So the 3 days open initiative is over, friends. Now whoever has want to enroll, I'm repeating, it is answer writing program is 1,500 cost with evaluation, and with video discussion is 2,500. This is one module. And similarly, essay, it is available for 1,500. And you can only take answer writing discussion at just 1,000 rupees. If you want to include essay discussion also without evaluation, it will be 1,500 rupees. If you want to take now answer writing, evaluation, and essay, everything combined, it is 3,500 rupees. I kept the prices very effective, and I myself or any group one topper is evaluating the answers. I'm making sure the quality is there, and I want ranks to come from my mentorship group and the channel. So that's my purpose. So if you guys like this initiative, please share with your friends, and if you want to enroll, please contact. Okay, guys, take care. Happy studying. Bye bye, guys.